Folks, welcome to That Betting Show for February 18th, 2019. It's Presidents Day. A lot of people out there have the day off. Not so fast on That Betting Show. He's Teddy Savransky. Give him a follow at Teddy_covers. I'm Donnie Seymour at Rightside VP. Going to be a fast-paced show today because as we saw over the weekend, the NBA going to be on hiatus for the next couple of days, but still talking about topics and getting after it. Hot topics of the day, Teddy. Guess what? The NBA All-Star Game. Hey, a close one. 178-64. The over-under crushes going over the total. Team LeBron down 20. Just like your typical NBA game, there are runs. They run right past Team Giannis. Get that ticket and hit the over, Teddy.
Oh, I had a couple of wise guy buddies yesterday. Like, oh, no, the under's a great bet in this game. Look at this total's been bet up. He's like, how little fun do you want to have watching an NBA game? And you know it's going to lose the whole way. Of course, the game flies over the total. Team LeBron sets an NBA All-Star Game record for most threes. They hit 35 of them in the game. But the way they rallied back was on the defensive end of the court. Well, that and the fact that head coach Mike Malone let them watch J. Cole do his halftime set. Malone's quote, I said, listen, I'll let you go watch the concert if you promise to get your ass back in transition. LeBron made my words known. They watched the concert, and they came out and played great. Of course, Team LeBron allowed 95 in the first half, only 69 in the second half. They were raining threes. Durant was raining threes, and it was pretty tough beat if you had Team Giannis. But, hey, you're betting on the All-Star game. There's going to be insanity. There certainly was some yesterday.
Crazy. I mean, fast breaks. I mean, you three-on-one fast breaks, not only like hockey. I mean, just going out, making some dunks out there, shooting threes. It's crazy. You're right. Like, if you're going to, even though you see that total, which opens up, offshore was like 323 at Bet Online, goes down to 310, closes at 316 by game time. It was pretty apparent that if these guys were just going to shoot on an average night, like it was practice, just shooting threes that were wide open, you knew there was going to be some scoring in this contest and certainly didn't surprise there. On Saturday night, Jason Tatum wins the skills challenge. Joe Harris takes the three-point shot down from the Curry family affair down in Charlotte, and Hamidou Diallo cashes in on the dunk contest. Overall, in the off-the-mic section, we'll work on to see how we can maybe make some things a little bit better, Teddy, here in the NBA All-Star competition and some other All-Star games as well. But look, what are you expecting out of the game? You want a little bit of music? You got J. Cole. You want a little bit of NBA action? You get the All-Star game. Wasn't a lot to hate on last week, but, I always opine, Teddy, was, boy, old man yelling at cloud, it used to be so much better back in the day, didn't it, Teddy?
Yeah, back in the day, exactly. And look, Joe Harris pulling off the major upset over Steph Curry and getting a little bit of love. There's not a lot of Virginia players who've had an impact in the NBA of late. Brogdon's having an impact in Milwaukee. Joe Harris is having an impact in Brooklyn, a guy who's hitting 47% from three for the season. Finally gets a little bit of love. I'm glad to see Joe Harris. Although every time anyone from the Nets gets publicity, I'm like, shh. This Nets team has been such a good moneymaker for me. I hate to see anybody getting any love.
Yep, keeping them under the radar. One team that's not staying under the radar here, Teddy, Tennessee goes down on Saturday in a great effort by Kentucky, and us gamblers in the industry, when we know what the lines are. I know, Ted, you love this as well as I do. Massive upset. Kentucky beats number one Tennessee. Not so fast in this, folks. UK favored by -4.5 in that game at tip, and they dominated the first half. Probably should have been up more. Pulled away in the second half. Impressive by Kentucky, and they seem to be only getting better here, Teddy.
Sure, and what did we talk about when we were previewing this game last week? I believe it was on Friday's show. We're talking about, we don't trust Tennessee and Rick Barnes to go into Rupp Arena and play a good game. How many times have we seen Rick Barnes' teams come up short in big games where they were every bit as talented as their opponent? In this case, they're not every bit as talented as Kentucky, and they came in as the number one team in the nation, and Kentucky certainly made a statement. Bad result for the books on this one. They got a little bit back on the total, but from a side perspective, it was all Wildcats money all the time. Wise guys were on them. Public was on them, and bettors cashed in. Bad result for the house.
We always like to look a little bit down the line as well, Teddy. Duke probably going to assume that number one spot when the AP poll comes out today. Going to play UNC on Wednesday night for an ACC title. Always a lot of fun, so something to keep in mind. When we talk about, bracket busters, bubble busters, trying to get in the tournament, great win yesterday, Teddy, by the St. John's Red Storm up in the Garden. Looked like they were down and out in the countdown by as many as 19 second-half points. And we're not talking about making a comeback against some lower-level team. We're just going to overpower them. Villanova doesn't turn the ball over, makes the right decisions, plays good defense. They melt that lead away, and St. John's runs away with it. A massive win for the Johnnies looking to get in the March Madness this year.
Sure. The question we have to ask, Johnny's good, Wildcats bad. And I think when you're seeing a lead like this, and when you talk about 19 points down, and then, we win the game and cover with room to spare, there's got to be a little bit of both. Nova wasn't sharp in the second half of this ballgame. They really weren't. You talked about the 16 turnovers. They couldn't hit a shot, to save their life or to win the game for that matter. So they kind of fell apart on the offensive end, but the Johnnies made a lot of plays. They forced those turnovers. They certainly hit shots when it mattered most during crunch time. Impressive comeback win for a team that's on the bubble. And every team that gets on the bubble means somebody else gets knocked down a notch. There will, as always, be disappointed teams once Selection Sunday rolls around.
And they always say, Teddy, even can equate to many other sports, including football, win the turnover battle, win the football game. The Johnnies had a distinct advantage there and pulled away and won. Hot stove, Teddy. I don't know whether it's called the hot stove, the gas stove, the electric stove, or, the electric's not on at this point to even heat the stove because the same tweets. And the worst part about it, Teddy, is I'm a Philadelphia Phillies fan, and we're expected to maybe get one or two of these players. And I get the same tweet hour by hour. Looks like it's getting close, but there's another team in it. Hey, update today. Philly should be rounding third base, but nothing really imminent. Teddy, how do you round third base with nothing imminent for the last 3.5 weeks? Unbelievable. Look, you said it as well. This could drag out to mid-March. Can we put an end to it? Or does it need to end, or is baseball just saying, you know what? This is kind of hilarious right now that we're going to talk about this every day, the same topics.
And in some ways, that's good for baseball. Look, baseball has no stars, all right? And my wife is the key for who's crossed over. She know Kevin Durant? Yeah, she knows Kevin Durant. She knows Steph Curry? Yeah, she knows Steph Curry. Does she know any baseball player? I asked her over the weekend, do you know anybody? Can you name a baseball player? She's like, Jeter? There's no marquee star. Bryce Harper's supposed to be that guy. So the more pub that he gets and the more love that he gets and the more media attention he gets is probably a good thing for baseball. All that being said, $300 million, I wouldn't do it. I don't think he's a title. I don't think either guy is, okay, plug and play, you get this guy, you win a title. And when you're talking about 10 years and $300+ million, don't think about the first 5 years of that deal. Think about the Albert Pujols side of that deal. Not a deal I would make. And if you're a Phillies fan, you're like, yeah, Harper. If you win a title, it's worth it. If you don't, that's going to be 10 years of a nightmare for you guys. Be careful what you wish for. I'll leave it at that.
Yep, you usually get those first couple years. It works wonders, and then you have 6 years left on the deal, and you wonder why the hell you did it and how you can unload it and how much of the contract you're going to have to eat. But, hey, we're all window shoppers here, certainly when it's not our money. We'll see what happens, and we'll keep you posted. If any hot stove topics change, I'll tell you what's changing right now, Teddy, this morning. The odds on SBRodds.com, the best place to go check. Money never sleeps here, and neither do those lines moving up and down as the morning goes along. UVA, not a lot going on Presidents Day, Teddy, but we do have the Battle of Virginia here. UVA getting the early Presidents Day love. Markets open at 3.5 and jump 2 full points to 5.5. If we take a look at it right now, and the importance of shopping those lines, Teddy, because you look at Pinnacle, it's -5. If you look at Chris Offshore, it's -5.5. Intertop's -5. BetOnline -5. That half point could be worth something when you have a free throw at the end of the game where it's 5 points. But this line on the move, clearly Virginia. We see the against the spread statistics that we'll get into a little bit later, but no surprise to me. Teddy opens 3.5 and moves to 5.5.
Yeah, I'm not surprised either. In fact, there's even a 6 out there at Bovada right now. So we know what direction this is moving in, and the square shops already know they're going to be heavy on Virginia tonight. They'll be rooting. Every book will be rooting for Virginia Tech this evening, barring a significant line move between now and tip-off. And look, there's a lot of love for Virginia in the markets. There has been all year. Their defensive numbers continue to be extraordinary. And Virginia Tech's playing without their point guard. They played their last 5 without Justin Robinson. And yeah, Jonathan Kabongo's filled in fairly well, but he didn't play in the first meeting against Virginia. He hasn't seen this defense. The betting market's saying your first look at the Cavaliers' defense, likely to be problematic, even for the home dog.
Teddy, I think we should be suiting up tonight. We'll get the jerseys ready. Maybe somebody at SBR can send you out one. They'll send me as well. We need to suit up, it seems, for West Virginia because nobody apparently knows who's actually going to suit up and play, and rightfully so. I think we could get out on the court there, Teddy. Last 3 games WVU has played, they lost by an average of 26 points per game. Oh, my goodness, Bob Huggins. Line on the move tonight, but get this, Teddy. Even though public bettors lining up on Kansas State or getting some early action, line opens up at 7 offshore and sits at 6.5 now. maybe Custer's last stand for West Virginia tonight, Teddy.
No, it's all injury. It's all injury. And make no mistake about it. If I'm on any basketball floor where there's a point spread, bet the other team. You know, I'm all elbows and knees, man. I got no game. I enjoyed playing, but I was never any good. But this is all about Dean Wade. Dean Wade, there was questions whether he was going to play, he's not going to play.
Yeah.
The official word, the current word is doubtful on Monday against West Virginia. He hurt his foot in the home loss to Iowa State over the weekend, and it's very, very questionable this evening. And of course, they're already playing without their sixth man in Cartier Diarra, who's out long term. For West Virginia, there was some thought that James Bolden might get back on the floor today. He's an injury. He hasn't played since January 19th, so I don't really has a huge impact in his first game back. But for a West Virginia team that needs bodies, if Bolden does play, it will be a big boost for the Mountaineers.
Yep, Presidents Day, as we said here, the NBA is going to take a little bit of time off. Major League Baseball getting their pitchers and catchers together, but the NCAA will take center stage. Not a lot of games, but some decent action as we looked at previous to some line movements here in the Virginia Tech-Virginia game. Battle Virginia takes center stage today in Blacksburg. -5.5 is what we're looking at, as we said, across the board. We'll see how those games line up as the day goes on. Total of 121.5. Actually, Teddy, that line is on the move. Now seeing 119s and actually some blinking on sportsbookreview.com right here, SBRodds.com. 120s now showing up on the board. Moneyline split -245, +203. 7 p.m. tonight on ESPN. UVA has been a friend of the spread backers, Teddy. 7-1 against the spread on the road. 8-4 in conference play this year. 15-7 as a favorite. And 5-1 against the spread. All those numbers point to UVA tonight, Teddy.
Sure. The first meeting points to UVA. It was 81-59, that first meeting. And I don't even know if it was that close. It was really a one-sided affair in that contest. And, of course, Virginia, they didn't play well over the weekend against Notre Dame. 60-54, they got the win. They never sniffed a point spread cover. Game stayed well under the total. Kyle Guy, after the win, I think that we are never going to apologize for a win, no matter what it looks like. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't Virginia's best game. And now we've seen this a lot over the last couple of weeks, where the look-ahead matchup is definitely affecting teams the game before. We saw it last week with both Kentucky and Tennessee. We saw it over the weekend with Virginia and Virginia Tech. And yeah, Virginia Tech got a push in the win at Pitt over the weekend. They, too, did not play particularly well in that contest, despite the fact that, Kerry Blackshear poured in 29 points in that ballgame. He's got to come out of nowhere. Not out of nowhere, but he certainly wasn't doing what he's doing right now. 5 straight games in double figures, 68% shooting over the last 2. Buzz Williams, we have to play through him. He's our best passer. He's our best playmaker. He has the highest basketball IQ on the team. Hokies, 5-0 in ACC games where they shoot 50% or better from the field. I don't think they get to 50% tonight. I can understand why the money has come on the road favorite Cavaliers.
Fighting Illini going on the road in Big Ten plays. The second part of our doubleheader tonight on Fox Sports 1 from the Kohl Center in Madison, Wisconsin, a Big Ten tip. And look at this, some movement here, maybe even more movement as the day goes on. Line opened up at 11. One time we were punching up the script there as Teddy is changing right now for us, folks, to give those updates. -9.5 right now if we take a look at the total. Hasn't changed much, 135.5. Moneyline split +400, -600. Illinois, 4-4 on the road this year against the spread, 11-14 in all games this year, and 7-7 against the spread in conference play. Wisconsin coming in here because, look, if you're going to slow the pace down, winning by 10 points is obviously harder to do than if you're going to speed the game up and get more possessions and extra possessions to extend that lead. So I agree with that early line movement, Teddy. 11 seemed like a lot, now down to 9. We'll see where it ends up today, but an interesting game.
Sure, it really is a fascinating game. And this is an Illini team. They were bad. They were bad in November. They were bad in December. They were as bad as anyone in the Big Ten for a good portion of January. Now they've won 4 in a row, 5 out of 6. And not just anybody, They beat Michigan State, beat them flat out. They beat Ohio State on the road, their first true road win of the season last week. And the quotes coming out of that locker room are positive ones. Ayo Dosunmu, we want more. We're not satisfied. Our main focus is Wisconsin and trying to get the 5th in the row. We're trying to make history. And I love this quote. We're the only people who believe in us. So we just need to stay together. You like the team that nobody believes in us but us. Those teams can and do go on big point spread runs, especially late in the campaign where the power ratings are already pretty much cemented. Illini's power rating has been going up, but incrementally, the markets are saying, hey, this team's a lot better than they were just a month ago. Of course, a month ago, they lost at home to Wisconsin. It wasn't a particularly close game. The Badgers won by 12. And in that contest, Ethan Happ wasn't even good. That's probably the scariest thing for the Illini is that Wisconsin won by 12. And Happ, he had 6 turnovers in that game. He was in foul trouble throughout. He wasn't anywhere near at his best. And, of course, traveling up to Madison, off a road win. Can Illinois maintain their composure? They have a big 3, 2 freshmen and a sophomore. Not always easy to get road wins and or covers when your big 3 are all underclassmen and you're traveling up to Madison to take on a Badgers team that back-to-back losses, Michigan and Michigan State, their last 2 ball games. This is obviously, after playing those 2 teams, a little bit of a step down in class and potentially a circle the wagon spot for Wisconsin if they're actually good enough to win this game by margin, which if Illinois plays as well as they have, they'll be in this game. If Illinois gets a little bit looking at the lights and feeling about how good they've done, Wisconsin has potential to beat them by 20 or more.
Folks, your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs. That Betting Show heading to the off-the-mic section, Teddy. And we always end up I always like to say, because I am grumpy quite a bit, that it was better when I was a kid and we look forward to it. But the ratings start to stack up and show you the difference of dunk competitions in the late 80s, early 90s, early 2000s. And we're looking at dunk competitions in the NBA now that just aren't drawing the ratings because the superstars aren't in it. When I was growing up and, running around on the playgrounds out there, Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins were going head-to-head on a Saturday afternoon. Now you're pushing it to Saturday night, and you're running guys out there that most of the public, Teddy, have never heard about. Putting your all-star game cap on as the commissioner, Teddy, particularly in the NBA, how do we improve this? How do we get the fans back into it? How do we get this as a much-watched theater entertainment? Or is it just the way it is, and that's what we're going to have to live with?
The answer is it's just the way it is. It's a different world now. You can't compare the 80s and 90s to 2019 when it comes to what you're able to watch. There was nothing on demand back in those days. There was no Netflix. It was like, this is on TV, or you can go out and go to the movies. And that's the option. Oh, you can get your VCS tape, and stick a movie in your VCR. That's not the era we live in 2019. There are so many more options and so many more choices, and they're all available 24/7 and live streamed, and that's just how it is. So I don't think it's the fault of the format for the All-Star game or the All-Star weekend. I don't see that there's any automatic quick fixes. Oh, if you do this, the ratings will skyrocket. I don't see that. It's just the way that it is in 2019. Guess what? Things change over time. We're in a different world now than we were 30 years ago, my friend.
Yep, absolutely. I'll add on to that at the WCKG show on sportsbookreview.com a little bit later this afternoon. Put my cap on, Teddy, for all 4 of those sports. But how about this? It's a Monday. Me and Teddy got up nice and early, corrected the script for you, got it out. There's a lot to watch on tonight, and thank you for tuning in to That Betting Show, February 2019, the 18th of the month. Almost March, almost baseball season here on That Betting Show. Teddy, thank you for joining us once again today. Can give him a follow on Twitter at Teddy_covers. I'm Donnie Seymour at RightSideVP. We'll catch you tomorrow and update you to see who won Virginia Tech. Hope you guys cash those tickets out there. Have a great day.